Welcome to The Explainer. Today, we're diving into a huge clash happening in Washington, one that goes a whole lot deeper than what you're seeing in the headlines. Okay, let's just jump right in. We're going to start with this really dramatic statement from the man right in the middle of it all, Federal Reserve Chair Jerome Powell. I mean, those words right there, they set the stage for a massive fight over the independence of the entire U.S. financial system. So, what would make the Fed chair say something so blunt? Well, it all kicks off with an announcement that is, and I'm not exaggerating here, something we have never ever seen before in American history. Right. This is a huge, huge escalation in the battle between the White House and our central bank. Think about that for a second. The person whose job it is to guide the entire U.S. economy is now under criminal investigation by his own government. Now, on the surface, the official story is that this whole thing is about a construction project, specifically a $2.5 billion renovation of the Fed's buildings. They're saying Powell might have misled Congress about it, but Powell himself, he's saying that's not what this is about at all. Because according to Powell, this investigation has nothing to do with buildings. He says the real fight is about something that affects every single one of us, the cost of money. It's about who gets to decide how much you pay for your mortgage, for your car, for your credit card bill. So this is what's so fascinating. You've got the two stories side by side. On the one hand, a kind of boring, formal investigation into a construction project. And on the other, this behind-the-scenes war to control the entire U.S. economy. And, the pressure hasn't exactly been a secret. The president has been very, very clear, saying over and over again in public that he wants the Fed to cut interest rates to make borrowing cheaper. Not just for you, but for the U.S. government itself. So why? Why all this intense political pressure to lower rates? Why would anyone risk this kind of crisis? Well, the answer comes down to one absolutely staggering, almost unbelievable number. Now, let's be crystal clear. That is not the total national debt. That's just the interest we paid on the debt. In 1 year, fiscal year 2025, the government paid almost $1 trillion for nothing. It wasn't for roads or schools or defense. It's just money, poof, gone to service our past borrowing. And this chart, wow, this shows a really grim milestone we just passed. For the first time in our history, the money we're forced to spend on interest payments is more than our entire defense budget. Let that sink in for a minute. We now spend more servicing our debt than on every soldier, every ship, and every plane combined. And this isn't just some abstract number either. It means our total debt is nearly the same size as everything our country makes and does in a whole year. It's on a relentless, unforgiving, upward climb. And the problem is just getting worse fast. These interest payments are set to become the fastest growing part of the entire federal budget. By 2035, we're on track to pay almost $2 trillion a year just in interest. It's a crippling invoice for past decisions that's being handed directly to our kids and our grandkids. Okay, so this is the crucial part. How does this massive government mess actually connect to your life? Because this isn't just some problem for politicians in D.C. to worry about. This is a kitchen table problem. Let's break it down. What does this actually do to you and your family? The Government Accountability Office laid out the real-world consequences, and this is really where the rubber meets the road. Here's the bottom line. When the government borrows trillions of dollars, it's competing for that money with you and with private businesses. It's like they're crowding everyone else out. And that makes everything from mortgages to groceries more expensive for you. And it makes it harder for businesses to grow and give raises. So this political pressure campaign, which is really born from the staggering weight of our national debt, it's pointing to a fundamental danger for our whole economy. Economists actually have a name for this exact situation. It's called fiscal dominance. Basically, it's when the government's need to borrow money becomes so huge that it overpowers the central bank's job to keep inflation in check. And let me tell you, for other countries that have gone down this road, it has not ended well. And it's not just me saying this. Former Fed chairs from both political parties have warned about this exact thing. When a central bank loses its independence, it almost always ends the same way, with runaway inflation that acts like a secret tax, just eating away at the savings of regular people. So the real takeaway here is that this criminal investigation, all this political pressure, they're just symptoms of a much bigger disease. And that disease is our national budget crisis. As long as that debt keeps skyrocketing, the temptation for politicians to interfere with the Fed is only going to get stronger. And that leads us to the final critical question that we as a country have to face. Has our debt gotten so big that it's just impossible for the Federal Reserve to do its job without political meddling? The answer to that is going to shape the American economy for generations to come.